September 23, 1943. Detroit. MI seen at Detroit Central Station is 3 post. Pearl Harbor dads say a fond farewell to their offspring as they leave for training at Fort Custer after induction. Corporal James Gregory left, holding M1 Thompson submachine gun, and T5 technician 5th grade Omer Taylor of Headquarters Company. 36th Armored Infantry Regiment, 9th Infantry Division of the United States First Army. Smoke cigarettes while taking cover from incoming enemy fire, behind an M for Sherman tank. On December 11, 1944, in Gake near Düren, in the North Rhine-Westphalia region of Germany. View of an American gun crew as they man a 75mm pack howitzer M1 emplacement for the defense of Torquay Airfield, Bougainville Island, Papua New Guinea, mid-December 1943. An RAF Lancaster bomber over the German city of Hamburg during a bombing raid. An alleged Soviet spy laughs at a Finnish soldier who is executing the spy in Rakaji, November 1942. Swinging from one bar to another on an overhead ladder is a muscle toughener to be reckoned with, and when these walks to the course in competition as part of their training, it is quite an obstacle. It is part of the intensive physical training regime. At the WWII training camp at Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, Coast Guardsmen on the deck of the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Spencer watched the explosion of a depth charge, which blasted a Nazi U-boat's hope of breaking into the center of a large convoy. Sinking of U-175, April 17, 1943, 7th June 1943: US film actor Clark Gable, who is serving as a gunnery instructor with the US Army Air Force somewhere in England, manning a weapon aboard an aircraft. Bomb damage in Manchester. American soldiers from the 503rd Parachute Ski Battalion rest in sleeping bags on the snow after hiking and skiing over rough mountain terrain. During training exercises, 2 bomber aircrew, Sergeant J. Dickinson from Canada and Sergeant F.X. Gilks from Trinidad, share a joke while waiting to board their aircraft for a raid on Hamburg, Britain, 1943. 11/12/43, Darwin, Australia. 3 p.m. is siesta time in Darwin, Australia. And flying Captain Iron, skipper, dreams up a date with a dream girl. Since their flight missions usually encompass a distance of 3,000 miles, personnel of B-20 for squadrons in the Darwin area are only allowed 4 or 5 raids a month. Thus, in between times, they led a humdrum existence, and PM is official nap time, although the heat usually makes it impossible to sleep. An American tank goes forward, with infantrymen following in its cover, searching for Japanese that infiltrated American lines the night before. Bougainville, Solomon Islands, March 1944. Approximately 3 of the 7 weeks training course of the U.S. Marine recruits at Paris Island are spent on the rifle range, where the future leathernecks are trained in the use of weapons with which a Marine is normally armed. This is followed by a week of advanced instruction in combat work and practice with the bayonet. Here, recruits undergo calisthenics under arms, sharing a joke at the wartime dance war, 1944. The dead body of a GI who has not been picked up is on the beach. 7th June 1944, Feville-sur-Emiara Beach, White Dock, Normandy, France. A French civilian woman pours a drink of cider for a British soldier with brain gun in Lisieux, 1944. Infantrymen of the US First Army silently move through the snow-blanketed Krinkholte Woods in Belgium on their way to contact the enemy during the current Nazi counter-offensive on the First Army front. 2 Navy Dauntless dive bombers are poised to plunge through the thick cloud in left foreground. They carry 1,000-pound bombs to be dropped on Japanese installations on Wake Island. Assault troops leave Alligator as it hits the beach of Morotai Island. A YMCA mobile canteen serves soldiers next to an anti-aircraft battery. November 1940. Easter morning finds technician 5th grade T5 William E. Thomas and private first class PFC Joseph Jackson preparing a special Easter egg basket for Hitler. March 1945. 18th September 1944. A white phosphorus shell explodes as soldiers run across the street in Brest to plant explosives in enemy positions. The British Army in Athens, Greece. October 1944. Sergeant Ike Gregory and driver C. Hardman on the Erectium during a tour of the Acropolis. A group of American soldiers has gathered around a piano and sings a song in the street Montglaise. 10th August 1944. The 2 GIs on the right wear the insignia of the US Army's 2nd Armored Division, which has just arrived in Barrington, Normandy, France. August 23, 1944. leap to free France. Thousands of varicolored parachutes, some holding equipment, some carrying men, fill the sky over southern France, between Nice and Marseilles. After dropping from their C-47 carrier planes, 617 squadron opening parenthesis dam busters closing parenthesis at Scampton, Lincolnshire, July 22, 1943. The crew of Lancaster 885 AJT, sitting on the grass posed under stormy clouds. Soldiers from the 331st Infantry Regiment, 83rd Infantry Division of the United States First Army, run across a road to take cover from enemy fire in the bocage hedgerows near the village of Périers during the Normandy campaign on 21st July 1944, near Périers in Normandy, France. CBs of 50th Battalion sitting on sandbags in a canvas in CB Chapel, bow their heads in prayer during candlelight Holy Communion service at Tinian, Marianas Islands, December 24, 1944. Assault troops crossing river, Rhineland campaign, Germany, 1945. American Marine Corps Private First Class Napoli Slack and American Marine Corps Corporal Dean Elstidem, both wearing so-called peanut suits, overalls named so for their tan color, on the deck of the troop transport, taking them to Hawaii, location unspecified, in the South Pacific, circa 1943. 4th Division Marines charging from their landing craft onto the beach in the battle at Iwo Jima, Japan, March 2, 1945. In London during World War II, on July 30th, 1944. An English soldier rescues a little girl named Barbara James from the ruins of her home after a series of aerial bombings. Member of Cavalry Reconnaissance Squadron, checks 30 caliber machine gun, Ardennes-Alsace campaign, Battle of the Bulge, 1945. German patrol exploring the Egyptian desert while blowing the Ghibli, Yel Alamein, September 1942. A British soldier in battle dress, kneeling in prayer at a service of intercession for France, which took place at Westminster Cathedral, London, June 14, 1940. Soldiers of 2nd Battalion, 165th Infantry Regiment, from the United States Army's 27th Infantry Division, landing at Yellow Beach on WWII Island, against the incoming defensive fire from naval ground troops of the Imperial Japanese Navy's 60th Special Naval Landing Force during the Battle of Markin Atoll on November 20, 1943 at WWII Island, Markin Atoll, in the Gilbert Islands. Infantrymen advancing under enemy shell fire, Ardennes-Alsace campaign, Battle of the Bulge, 1945. Black members of a Marine division on Iwo Jima. 1941. Red Army troops storming an apartment block amidst the ruins of war-torn Stalingrad, using an unexploded 16-inch naval shell for a resting place. Marine PFC Raymond Hubert shakes a 3-day accumulation of sand from his boondocker. July 4, 1944. USS LSM R190 Mackay, a United States Navy LSM R188 class landing ship medium rocket, fires a barrage of rockets in salvos onto the shores of Turkish Ishima in a pre-landing bombardment during the Okinawa campaign on March 27, 1945 at Turkish Ishima near Okinawa, Japan. USS LSM R190 Mackay was attacked and sunk by 3 Japanese kamikaze aircraft of Okinawa on May 4, 1945. US soldiers aboard landing craft vehicle. Personnel LCVP approaching Omaha Beach, Normandy, France. Company F, 145th Infantry, 37th Infantry Division soldiers move past the General Post Office building on their way to assault the walled city of Intramuros, February 23rd, 1945. In Manila, Philippines. Vertical aerial photograph taken during a daylight attack on an oil storage depot at BC dams situated in the Garonne estuary at the confluence of the rivers Garonne and Dordogne, France. An aviario Lancaster of number 514 Squadron RAF FLIs over the target area, while dense clouds of smoke rise as bombs burst among the oil storage tanks. August 4, 1944. Scene of cheering crowd in the streets of Paris during the liberation. Civilians waving at French tanks. Parisian women welcome soldiers of the Allied troops on August 25th, 1944 in Paris, after the battle for the liberation of Paris. Circa 1945, TI stand at the ruins of the Great Living Room window of Hitler's mountain retreat in Berchtesgaden, the so-called Burghof, a battle-weary soldier from George SN. Patton's Third Army, sleeps on the luxurious bed where Hermann Göring once slept. A boatload of soldiers aboard a liner arrives in New York City from the Pacific Front, circa October 1945.